from Goa, Brahma, the creator, tried to step between them. He was waved away. Long ago, in the great heavens, the two greatest gods of the Hindu pantheon had a terrible quarrel. They were Vishnu, the preserver of the universe, and Shiva, the destroyer of all evil. The story does not tell us exactly what the quarrel was about. Some say it was about a sage who had bowed to one of them and not to the other. Some say it was about who would receive a particular offering. Some say, more honestly, that nobody quite remembers the cause anymore, only that it became a great fight. The two of them faced each other across the heavens. They began to draw their weapons. The lesser gods, watching, knew what would happen next. A direct combat between Vishnu and Shiva would split the universe in half. Mountains would crack. Stars would fall. The world would not survive. Brahma, the creator, tried to step between them. He was waved away. Indra, the king of the lesser gods, tried to negotiate. He was ignored. The other gods tried, one by one, to intervene. None of them could. Vishnu and Shiva were too angry. They were too vast. They were the very forces of preservation and destruction made into two warriors. There was no being in the universe that could stand between them and make them stop. Or so it seemed. The gods, in despair, finally went to the supreme feminine power, the great goddess herself, Adi Shakti, in her purest form. They pleaded with her. They asked her to do something. She listened. She nodded. She said, "I will go between them." She took a special form for this purpose. The form is exactly what the quarrel required. She manifested as a woman with 8 arms. She held no weapons of war. In her right hands, she held, gently, only objects of calming. A lotus. A blessing mudra. A jar of nectar. A small cooking spoon. In her left hands, she held the symbols of the two warring gods. She held a conch, the symbol of Vishnu. She held a snake, the symbol of Shiva. She held a child. She held a small mirror. She had the strength of the destroyer mother of the cosmos. But she did not raise it as anger. She held the two warring gods, the conch and the snake, in her left hands, each one resting peacefully in her palm. The goddess walked into the heavens, into the space between Vishnu and Shiva. She placed herself between them. She raised her arms. The two warring gods stopped, mid-strike, mid-breath. They saw who was standing between them. They lowered their weapons. The goddess spoke. She said gently, "My husbands, my beloveds, you are the two great forces of this universe. You are not enemies. You are two halves of the same hand. To fight each other is to undo the world. Stop. Be reconciled." The two gods bowed. They came forward. They embraced each other. They asked her forgiveness. Then they turned to her and they asked, "Who are you, Mother? You alone could stop us. By what name shall the world remember you?" She smiled. She said, "I have many names. But for this work, I am Shanta Durga." Shanta, peaceful. Durga, the strong one. The peaceful Durga. I am the form of the goddess that comes between you when you fight. I am the form that arrives when the world cannot bear another second of conflict. The two gods bowed again. They returned to their kingdoms. The universe survived. Many millennia passed. The goddess Shantadurga came to be especially worshipped by a community of Brahmins called the Saraswat Brahmins, named after the now vanished river Saraswati of northern India. They had been forced, by climate changes and political upheavals, to leave the banks of the Saraswati and migrate slowly south. They settled, over many centuries, in different regions. One branch of them, the god Saraswat Brahmins, eventually reached the Konkan coast, in the area we now call Goa. They brought, with them, their family goddess, Shantadurga. They installed her in small temples along the coast. They worshipped her in the Konkani language. They invoked her for any quarrels between brothers, between villages, between families. She was the goddess to call upon when the household was on the edge of war. In 1510, the Portuguese came. They captured Goa. They began, gradually, to persecute the Hindu population. They burned temples. They forbade public worship. They forced conversions. Many of the Saraswat Brahmins fled inland, into the kingdom of the Adil Shahis. They carried their household idols with them. The temple of Shantadurga at the original village of Quelosim, on the coast, was destroyed sometime in the late 16th century. The idol was secretly carried, by a Saraswat priest, across the river. They walked it through the forests for many days. They installed it, eventually, in a new temple at a place called Kavlem, in the inland village of Ponda. The new temple at Kavlem became the central temple of Shantadurga of Goa. It still stands. It was rebuilt and expanded in the 18th century by patrons including the Maratha king Shahu and a wealthy donor named Naruram Mantri. Every year, at the Kavlem temple, on a particular day in the Hindu month of Magha, the most important festival of Shantadurga is held. It is called the Magha Jatra. Pilgrims walk to Kavlem from across Goa. They bring flowers. They bring coconuts. They bring small offerings of jaggery. The priests perform a special ritual that has not changed in 2 centuries. They place before the idol of the goddess 2 small symbolic objects on either side of her, a conch shell and a small image of a snake. The shell represents Vishnu. The snake represents Shiva. They are placed there to remind the goddess of why she came down to earth in the first place. They are placed there to remind the worshippers, too, that the goddess is the form of the divine that comes between us when we fight. Today, when 2 Goan villagers have a quarrel, a property dispute, a fight over an inheritance, a small angry argument that is growing larger, a friend, an aunt, an old neighbor will often say, quietly, Shantadurga. Just that one word. It is a Konkani idiom now. It means, stop. Take a breath. Remember that we are family. Remember that the goddess between Vishnu and Shiva is still listening. The temple at Kavlem still hosts thousands of devotees every week. The Saraswat Brahman community across the world, including a large diaspora in Mumbai, Mangalore, Bengaluru, and beyond, still consider Shantadurga their family goddess. They still light a small lamp before her image in the morning. They still ask her, before they leave the house each day, for one thing, not wealth, not victory, not health, only peace. Only the absence of quarrels. Tomorrow's story comes from another corner of India. Subscribe to walk with us through the folklore of every region, in your language.